Okay, so today we will look mainly about the usage of GUI and how exactly the screen to screen things happen and how you give the inputs, all those stuff. We will just look at that. Okay, so anytime when we log into the system, we provide certain credentials. Okay, the credentials are given. It's a productive system. Okay, so whenever we have to log in, we give three things. One is the client, another one is user, password, and login language. Okay, so SID and client are specific, okay, to whichever system you need to log in. So for that only you are allowed, or a particular customer is residing on a specific client. Okay, in short, if I want to tell about a client, means an entity within an SAP system which acts as a company. Okay, so if in general in SAP system, right, so whenever you install any new system, so from 000 to 999, so overall 1000 clients are available. In that, whenever new system gets installed, three tenants are automatically blocked, that is 000, 001, and 056. Okay, these three tenants are standard tenants. Okay, 000 is your admin client, 001 is a copy of 000, and 056 is mainly for the SAP to send you certain alerts regarding to your system. Okay, so apart from these three clients, any client you can use it for the production. Okay, so what will happen is, in one system you have like 997 clients are present, so you can host 997 different companies in one system. That's not an ideal situation, but SAP has that provision uh, to make it like that. Okay, in that way what will happen is, you have entity or company running specific to that, users, everything is isolated there. Okay, and no two clients are connected with each other sharing data or something like that. Okay, we will talk more about client later, but just right now you remember that a client is an entity, okay, for any of the customer, and all their data, everything is stored in the client specific field. Then user and credentials, so user and password, you give the specific username and password to you. Okay, but right now what is the situation is, there is very limited number of companies which opt for an user and password based login. They use an SSO or SNC login for them. So just that you don't have to give any credentials there, it's the system which generates automatic certificate using secure client login. There are different tools, and without giving any credentials you can log into the system. Just to be make sure, from the compliance point it's good, because you don't need to remember so many passwords, and also you are allowed to log in only into your system. Okay, you cannot log in into somebody else's system and work by sharing the password and all. Just for the safety purpose, they've introduced this SNC or SSO login, which has been available in singles. Okay, then the next is, like the GUI. Okay, so in graphical user interface, once you log in, right, so you can see certain things in your screen. Okay, the first thing which we look for is the system. Okay, system ID, or in general we call it as an SID, which is called as a system identification number or name. Okay, so it's a combination of alphabet and numbers. Okay, it's a three-letter word to uniquely define or know your system. Okay, in one customer license. Okay, suppose uh, Infosys as a customer, they cannot install two SIDs with the same name. Okay, because there is a license attached to it. Okay, and you cannot log in, or you cannot duplicate use the duplicate SIDs for two systems within the same servers because of licensing. And in license in general we provide the hardware number. Okay, it's not just ID, we also provide the number for a specific hardware, so that's why it differs, so license becomes invalid. Okay, so that's why it's a unique name within a customer license. So as a overall one customer like Infosys or TCS, they cannot have the same SID within their landscape. Okay, it's all going to be unique. Okay, and apart from the standard name like SAP and a couple of more, you can name anything to your system. Okay, you can name irrespective of how you want to your system to be there, and you can use and install the system according to your wish. Okay. Second thing is the client. So here you can see we have logged into 800 client for this particular system. We have already given that name. Then the username, my username with which I log into the system. Next is the program name. Okay, so in SAP, every screen or every thing is based on the program and it shows you a certain screen. So that's why this is a screen based technology wherein you work on a screen. Okay, you don't run certain programs or you don't execute any certain programs or like that. Okay, so for every screen there is a program attached to it. So now you can see you are seeing this main screen. So for that this is a program. Now I go to some other screen or something I clicked it. For that it is the this one program. Either I can access this program, I can run execute this program, or I can give the transaction code or a T code. Okay, so T code is a short form for your program. Okay, it's a transaction code. So simply by giving a T code name, we can access that particular program. Like, okay, just I'll show you SC um, ST22 I'll give you. Okay, so we can see RS show RBACs, right? So now I'll open a different screen and I will execute the same decode RS, sorry, RS show RBACs. Okay, now I execute the same screen, so I get the same screen as well. So this is the significance. So either you can use a T code or execute the program for directly accessing certain transaction within the system. So there are n number of T codes. I'll share one document with T codes as well. Okay, so there are n number of T codes present in the system. Okay, and there are certain things um, which are customized to customers as well. So they can develop their own T codes by generating a new program and assigning to it. So that's all possible. But we from the basis side we mainly look at the standard T codes itself. Okay. Uh, you cannot remember all the T codes for sure, because even after 10-11 years of me working, I don't remember all the T codes in a single go. Either I Google it or I refer to the chat and get it. So hardly I would say like 15 to 20 T codes I remember. But apart from that, if I had to look it, I just search or just do the Google. Okay, you won't. It's not mandatory to remember T codes, just for your understanding. Only few are required, but yeah, that's how it's going to be. And a response time, interpretation time, and round trip on flashes are means it's basically how the system is responding. Okay, how much time it took to respond, how much time it took to interpret, and how much time it took, how many round trips it made, or flushes, basically the memory flush, how much it made. So that particular details it is providing here. And this is my server details, okay, which is installed on this. Now coming back to the main home screen, okay, so we have these menu bars and certain tabs and certain favorites, okay. So these are all user specific, okay, and the role specific, okay. Now the favorites part, right? So I can add whatever I want to add it to favorites for my quick access. So this is like bookmark, which we create generally. So like that you can do it. You can either insert certain T code. So I just add st22 as a T code. So now you see st22 dump analysis, so that becomes my favorite, okay. I can add my repetitive task in favorites itself for myself, okay. Then comes this SAP menu, okay. So the SAP menu is purely based on the authorization, okay. Like HR, right? So for HR team they give only the SAP menu of HR. Accounting they will give only the uh, accounting related stuff. So this comes with the user based. So while they are assigning the roles, so they give these particular details there, okay. Then comes my menu, okay. It's again the same user menu, SAP menu, business workplace, create role. So I usually we don't create roles, okay. It's a security team's task, but we will look into a topic of how we create user roles and all those stuff, okay. For timing, just see that this menu contains certain things. Then in edit we have execute in new window, or create a shortcut to the desktop. It's as it names, since I can click something and then I give execute, it goes. So instead of double click, it's just another thing. Favorites, yeah, as I said, so you can add favorites whichever you wanted. You can create a folder, you can add a transaction, you can export and import to from your colleagues, and everything it can be done, okay. Then comes the technique extra information. So in administrative information, it just gives you certain details of your workflows and all those stuff. Not really, it's just an information part which is written over there, okay. Display documentation. So if I want to look for any specific document, or anything which I'm not sure, I need to click and get the document, I can do F4 help. It's just like SAP specific document it will show. So currently there is no document available for this, okay. Let's see for UPT, okay. So there is no document existing for this, but it's basically a kind of see, for it will redirect you to the SAP portal, okay. So standard SAP portal, and there you can search with SPRO or whatever you want. So it just connects with the it just take you to the help.sap.com portal, and there you can do all the search there. Technical details, it's again the same. So for the T code, what does the T code means, it just shows that, okay. It's all one or other way you're seeing it, okay. It's not that we use these things just for the knowledge purpose, I'm just showing you, okay. Then comes my system tab. So there it contains certain utilities, debug and all those stuff, but the main thing what we use is the status one, okay. So status one contains a typical things like system detail and all those stuff, like your client, user, language, and then when was my previous login to the system, okay. Current login and previous login, both it will show, uh, just for the purpose, okay. It's not that you have to get it, just to see that when was the last time you logged in, kind of a thing, you can see it here. And system time, okay. The system time is defined in the CET time zone, okay. The time zone is given like this. And system time, what is, yeah, you may see certain thing like you are working in one time zone, like if you're working in India, or if you're working in South Asian countries, then you can see this timing is different from your real time. The reason being, here it is a system time in CET time zone, okay. So like that they will provide it. Then the T code screen and GUI.
It's the same thing again what I said here, whatever we look, right? So same, which session, which program, everything open. Then this system data is something important. Okay, if I just click it here, so you can see what is installed in the system. Okay, I clicked on install product version, so you can see S4 HANA on-premise 1909 server, it is installed in initial stack shipment. Yesterday I was talking about the initial release, then SP02, SP03, right? So similarly, you can see here this is an initial shipment. So it means that it is S4 HANA 1909 00 is its stack. Okay. Similarly, there are software. So combination of collective software components makes a product version. Okay, so it contains all these different products here. Okay, and all these things comes along with your installed product versions. Okay, just um, and the main thing which defines our version is mainly S4 core. Okay, so let me just see. S4 Core 104. If I Google S4 Core 104, see S4 Core 104 means 1909. Okay. So S4 Core is a typical component from which you can derive in what version you are there. Okay. In what version you are actually working and all those stuff. Okay. So whenever if somebody asks you in which version you are, if you don't get the installed product version, you can just see for the component and you can derive that this is a specific version we are working on. Okay. uh, that's about the system data application, and then the host. Okay, in which what is my operating system, like Linux 64-bit, 86, 64-bit, and then the server name I was showing it, right? So this is my server name, and platform ID is something that is not is very important. Then comes the database information. um, what is my database type, what is the name of it, and what is the schema for my database, what is the release of my HANA version. Okay, HDB is your HANA DB. Okay, the database system is HDB. If they have written, then it will be HANA DB. If it is ORA, it means Oracle. Okay, and then we have something called as a release. So specific release version is maintained here. The host for your HANA DB, so that is the host which is written over here, and HANA DB user, okay, to connect to your database, which will be there for you. Okay. um, then comes then let me just close this again. I go back to status. Okay, so in here we covered everything. Okay, and one more thing, the number of failed attempts of login. Okay, it says 0 here. So by chance if you are logging in with wrong passwords, so the moment you log in, it will show you like you gave. Okay, I'll just show. I'll not log in too many times because or else it will lock my user. Okay, I am just giving a wrong password here. Now I will give a right password. See, it says number of failed attempts of login is 2. Okay, I gave 2 times wrong password. So in general, 6 times it is allowed. So it's again a customized one. 6 times it is allowed, and then it will lock your user. Okay. Um, so yeah, so that's about this part wherein I was talking about the system status and help. Okay, so help is basically it will take you to the SAP portal. So always remember help.sap.com or community.sap.com are the one which are which gives you more details. Okay, which gives you more details about any queries you have it. Okay, you can go through that particular version. Now next is your this is okay, enter, and this is your place where you can give any T codes and then enter, it will work for it. This is a screen to go back, forward and log off. This is for the print. If you want to take certain print of anything, you can give print option and take the print out of it. Uh, then comes the search, find and find next, all those things. This is to go to the last first page. This is to a previous page, next page and the last page. So suppose if there are 10 pages, and if you directly want to go to the 10th page, then this is an option. If you want to scroll page by page, then this would be an option. So I can just show that. Okay, so now we have such a big screen, right? So I'll just give page by page I can go, or directly I can click on last, so it will come to last page directly. Okay, so that is that option. And if I want to open a new screen, new window of GUI, I can directly click it. Okay, uh, I and also let's just check if this has some limit to open session. Okay, see, you are not allowed to open more than 6 screens. Okay, this is a standard definition wherein one user cannot open more than 6 screens at a time. Okay, it's a limit which is set, and you are allowed to open only 6 sessions in one time. And if you can just click S4, see, it will show you like maximum number of external session reached, and external session correspond to GUI window. And to create a new session, choose system and all those stuff. So maximum configured is usually set to 6. This is how it is there, and the reason for this is purely a memory. Okay, uh, it's a memory part, and unnecessarily it will not cause a huge how I put it, it will not cause unnecessary stress on the system. Okay, you overload a system um, by opening certain data again and again, or keeping too many windows open. Like in my laptop, if I open too many screen, or in my browser, if I open too many windows at the same time, then the browser starts acting weird, right? Either it could be working slow, or sometimes it get crashed. So like that only, it will be there. Okay, um, then comes okay, let me just close this. Okay, last page, and this is a new page. um, then let me open something. This is again an S4 help. This is for the customizing part. It's all fine. So these are again the same things in one or different way. Okay, now the other things which comes is the way we access any T codes. Okay, so I'll just share at the end of the session. So there are uh, multiple T codes. Okay, for each T code there is a role assigned. Okay, and based on the role itself, you can access, or you can uh, work through the certain access certain T codes. Okay, so remember, you have access to everything in non-production system. Okay, in dev, quality, pre-prod, you will have maximum access. Okay, you can even log in to the system and do whatever configuration changes you can do if you want. But in production, your access would be very limited. So during that time, what they do is they work on something called as a FFID. Okay, so you will hear this common term called as an FFID, wherein what it means is in production, right? So not every execute authorization is given to you. Okay, the generic users will not be provided to do execute or certain transactions. So they are allowed to look at certain things in the system. Okay, like I give SC38, right? So I can run this program in non-prod and in non-prod, but in prod I will not be given the access to execute any report there. Okay, I will be given access to display but not execute. Okay, so this is during that time you need to have access as well, right? So for that you need to use a certain uh, additional roles or certain authorization which you get it from FFID. Okay, so they usually call it as a firefighter ID, or you or which is managed by GRC. So when you work in real time you will see such terminologies being used like FFID, can I request FFID, and all those stuff. Okay, um, that's one part. Okay, and the second thing is in production, right? So you may have authorization for certain things, but still you are not allowed to execute it unless and until you have a proper approval. Okay, special things needs an approval. So unless and until there is a short confirmation of certain things to be done, especially the configuration and all, although your authorized your user won't be having that authorization, but when you request FF user, that time what you need to do is you need to capture the screenshots with the date and time before and after every activity. It's one of the must and key thing, because uh, audit will come into the picture and audit will ask you a lot of questions there. Okay, so to avoid from any audit related issues or uh, getting stuck there, um, you need to have certain proof for yourself. Okay, and those proofs you will get via via the screenshots. Okay, and FFID also you need to give certain data, all those stuff. Okay, um, that's regarding the how the housekeeping things and all works. Okay, every company has its own set of rules and regulation. Remember, uh, the the most critical ones are the defense and pharma companies. Okay, so they have very stringent rules. Okay, they they just don't accept anything which is like a loophole. Okay, uh, so if there is any loophole, then it's a loss of um, human life and all those stuff. Okay, so that's why there are different uh, sorry, there are different kinds of uh, authorizations, or different kinds of rules, or different kinds of what do I call, procedure, SOX monitor, or all these things they keep it in place. Okay, that's the main reason, and also just get used to it. So whenever you join any project, so you need to spend some time to understand these things as well, because from the process standpoint, these are very critical. Okay, and you may be doing very good job, but if you lack in process, SOX, audit, then it's a big time lapse, and it may be considered as a very serious thing. Okay, so just be sure that whatever task you're performing, you have a screenshot, and that's screenshot helps for you for future task as well. Maybe you spend some time to Google, find out the solution and all those stuff. Um, but but what will happen is, you can also refer um, to those things for your reference itself, or as a repetitive, because sometimes one issue comes now and after 6 months it pop-ups, and maybe um you may forget. Okay, so that's why screenshot acts as a wiki for you. Okay, uh, then next would be for today. So we have looked into the GUI. So let's see like certain T codes. Okay, I'll just go to SM21 and see this is how it looks. And I gave certain data, and now I just execute it. It opened one more screen. Okay, and now I double click on it. It opens one more screen. So this is a screen based. Um this is a screen based technology what we are talking about. Okay, so now what will happen is I'll just let me just open. So see, so every time I log in to a system, okay, there will be a screen one. Okay, I give certain input, it goes to screen 2, it goes to screen 3, and this is user one, right? So this goes to user, that data, it goes to another screen, and finally when I execute everything I get my result in screen 4, that is visible to user one. Okay, so it should not be going that you are trying to give certain data and it shows to different screen as well, right? So it should show to you only. Okay, so that's why this is a screen based, and you will have all those data whenever you're looking at, every time it's being tracked. um, and also what I call like you will have one by one screen going to different parts, and then at the end of the result you can see it in a different screen as well. Okay, so this entire flow, right? So you will have a thread, okay, which we call it as a work process in SAP world. Okay, just remember WP as a work process for now. So you jump from one work process to another work process, you jump from another work process to another. So I'm just taking a random number, but it all correspond to one user itself. Okay, so SAP also take care of this thing, because in production at a time during the business hours, so there will be thousands of customers who are logged in. Okay, so data should not go from one user to another. So suppose if I am checking something, it should the output should not be shown to somebody else. Okay, or I am seeing somebody else output, it should be shown to me. So this screen movements irrespective of whichever screen we move, but it shows to the same end user to it. So that is a screen based thing. So not neither I'm giving any sort of codes here, or I'm writing anything there, but it's just system is making sure that it is revolving around the different screens, and it is going and providing me the right data what I'm looking for. Okay, um, this is one thing. Okay, now let's look at the other part. Okay, now we will talk about a bit on the architecture part. Okay, how a system is defined, or how a system is divided. Okay, we've talked about we've talked about 1 minute. So far we have talked about presentation, DB, and application we have. So GUI, we talked about the GUI. Okay, so there is a web-based GUI as well, which is from your browser. Okay, how it looks, that also I'll show you. SMICM. So for a user, right? So sometimes what happens is they want to use the web-based GUI, so they don't want GUI to be installed in them. Okay, they used it via certain URLs or like that. So how it looks, I'll just show. See, this is how a web-based URL look like. So they have URL, it will pop up to the login screen, and they will just give their user and credentials and they log in. Okay, so it also opens a similar fashion, so there is no difference. It's a URL based, so this is called as a web GUI. Okay, uh, then comes the application part. Okay, so in application, right now we will talk mainly on the application, and which is my S4 HANA. Just remember, this is my S4 HANA. In short, this is my SAP application. Okay, and SAP application is divided into multiple parts. Okay, so we have something called as a central services and then application services. Okay, this is a new architecture. Okay, this is a central services and this is my application service earlier. Okay, so don't get confused in ECC and all. How it used to be there was, I'll just add that screenshot as well here. Just, so this is for ECC. What used to be there is, so there used to be CI, then there used to be CS, and then there used to be AAS. Okay, which means central instance, central service, application service. Okay, so these are all different terminologies. Okay, so but right now they have just made it bit more easier, and it has only CS and application server. Okay, what is a typical difference? Okay, CS, it as it name says, it's a central services. So central services acts as a service to know your system. Okay, so if I have 10 application servers, okay, so my system should know that I have 10 application server. How it will know? How it will distribute the load to 10 different app servers? So that will be taken care by CS. Okay. So CS in central services, it has some few services, okay, which it is running, and it makes sure that it gives a workload distributed evenly to the system. Okay. Now a simple example is, from GUI I want to connect to my SAP. Okay, what will happen is user don't log into by giving the physical host of a application server, because if this application server is down, then he will think that system is down. Or if hundreds of users are login with the same instance, then only this particular application server will be loaded, rest all would be free. A simple example, like you have 10 counters, okay, which is giving some tickets. Okay, if it's a common tendency that everybody will go to counter number one and they made a huge queue. Okay, then the processing time to distribute the tickets would be more. Okay, instead, if you distribute everybody across the 10 counters, okay, then your processing would be faster, right? And how will people know that there are 10 different counters? So some watchman is there or some guard is there who is directing everybody that there are 10 different counters, please go to that counter, this counter, and he knows exactly 9 counter, 10 counter, how much is there. So that load balancing task is taken care by CS. Okay, so any request coming from GUI, web GUI, and all those stuff will hit to my CS, and CS looks for the server, the application server which is least loaded. Okay, and it will bypass, it will send that request to that particular app server. Okay, so whichever is free, it will send there, and that will directly process the data. Okay, CS contains few services like NQ and message service. Okay, NQ is basically for the lock mechanism. So what is a lock mechanism? So it's a very simple and effective uh, thing wherein you don't allow multiple people to log in or edit the same table. Okay, or commit the same table. Why it is not allowed is, see, if multiple people are accessing, they can read the data, but when they want to change it, only one person is allowed to change a table at a time, or else what will happen is it may create inconsistency in the table, or it may even create certain loss of data as well. So what NQ does is it locks the table. Okay, now I'll show you a simple example of lock mechanism. Now I'll open a T code. Okay, and I'll just say this thing. Okay, now I'll open same T code one more time. Okay, okay, this maximum. See, it is telling table, this particular table is locked by user S4 basis thing. It's my user only, but it is telling me you have somewhere opened it in an edit mode. Okay, now I'll go back. Okay, I'm back out from that, and now what will I do is I'll give the same T code again. Oh, it's still locked. I need to completely come out with. Okay, I came out. Now in this screen. Okay, now it is giving me to access it. Now if I go back and see, it is saying only display is possible. So this is an NQ mechanism. Okay, this is a lock mechanism wherein you are locking certain things for edit purpose. Okay, you are not allowed to do multiple changes at the same point in time. That's why NQ is not allowed there. Okay. Then comes the message server. So message server is a one which knows how many app servers are there in the system. Okay, it is a service which takes care of doing the load balancing. Okay, as such, CS don't have its resources to process any data. It is just managing the app servers. Okay, remember that. Okay, now don't get confused with the CI, CS and everything. Okay, just for the understanding purpose, this one I'll just explain it. Okay, but this is currently not there. Okay, but you may see somewhere if somebody is working on ECC environment, that time you will hear such words like CI and additional application server. Okay, so what is a CI? CI is a central instance. AS is your additional application server. Okay, so when I log into this, right, so this has certain resources for completing my task. You can see these many processes, like how I see in my task manager, right? So there are these processes are running, app background processes are running to make sure that my system is running in optimum phase. So these are also like different process to do your task, like Java threads. If you are aware in the Java world, so this is a Java threads kind of a thing, which we call it as a work process. Okay, now what happens is, in whenever a new system used to get installed earlier, along with CS, CI used to get installed. Okay, the first central instance, and it contains all the types of work process. Okay, like dialog, background, message, NQ, update, all these work process. Okay, and spool for print purpose. So which I'll show it here. So you can see dialog, update, background, spool. Okay, so these are all the services which used to be available only in the central instance, and in additional application server you used to have only dialog, background, and your update itself. There is no NQ and all those stuff. NQ will be used to centrally managed by the CI instance. Okay, and these are all additionally installed, so just to uh, increase the capacity of the system, so you load it, so scale out purpose.
But now what has happened is all are similar. They all are called as an application server. There is no concept of CI, and all the application servers have its own uh, these work process, dialog, background, spool, and all the stuff to do the certain task. Okay. Now in each application server, right? Why this application server are more? Okay. Now in general, I have 10. Okay, I just say 10 work process in one app server. Okay, that means only 10 tasks can be performed in one time. Suppose if there are 100, okay, then what I'll do is I'll add similar app servers here. Okay, if I set 4, then now 40 work process can be processed at a time. So you have increased the speed by 4 times. Okay. So this is why we install the app server, and there is no restriction on how many app server are there or anything like that. It's all the customer dependent. They can install as many app servers as they want for their business. Okay, it comes with a cost of server and maintenance, but for the customer, if processing is more important, then they will make sure that you have increased the app server, and so that you have performance also increased and data is getting processed faster. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Currently in our landscape, we have only one in our system. We have only one instance, which is only one. But if you can, if there are multiple, then what will happen is there will be a list of app servers which will be shown here with the status of active and passive. So you can see instance services, dialog, batch, everything it is giving here, and you will see the list of application server instance over here. Okay, so that's about the CI, CS, and application server. Any doubt? But don't get confused with the terminologies. Okay, ECC is having different, S4 is having a different configuration. So I would just say remember the S4 part itself for now. Okay, and because this is easier, and earlier one was bit complex, and it's bit confusing as well in the initial days. So remember only S4 CS configuration, and let's talk only on this particular this part from now on. Okay, any doubts with this basic architecture or anything like that?
I, sorry, I have one question. We will do installation of SAP Basis, I mean the complete server or no?
No, that is not included, because the reason being you need to have all the installation packages, and it is a different task. Okay, that is not there. So that's why I said it's all theoretical. I'll show you how it's being done, what all tools are being used there for that, and all those stuff. But in this course, we don't have installation part as a hands-on.
And system copy
No, that's what
also not.
when I will see this particular module, right? So where
Yeah.
is this one? Okay, so these are all comes as part of implementation, or the higher level. Okay, the next level of task which we will cover theoretically now. Okay, which contains system refresh, data migration, installation, all those stuff. I'll go step by step, sharing a document how it's being performed, because this requires one is the servers, appropriate servers to do the installation. Second one is a software. Okay, we don't
Yeah.
get the software for free. It's a bit tedious task, because the software again you need to download it from the marketplace, and then you need to have a suitable server for it to install it independently. You need to install database, you need to install application, and everything becomes bit costlier. Okay, so that's why this, and also it takes a longer period of time. Its installation is done, for like 4 5 days it will take to install, just to install, and then to perform post and post steps it will take another 4 5 days. Okay, so that's why we don't cover practical for these topics. Okay. I hope it's clear, or any doubts?
Sir, for CS, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we want to have high availability.
Mm-hmm.
If we install two CS, how they will?
Okay, so you went in bit deeper, so I think it's too early to talk about that concept of HA and DR. But I'll just give a overview picture of what exactly it means. Okay,
Okay.
so suppose I'll just this is your presentation, this is your application, and this is your database. Okay, what happens is you keep two database, DB1 and DB2. This is primary and this is your HA node, which is a high availability or a secondary system. What happens is if your primary DB goes down or get corrupted or get shut down, immediately you can switch to the secondary database node and access the system. Okay, so in that way you don't have a loss of system data, or system availability is covered with that. Okay, similarly in the application also what they do is, see, we have multiple app servers, right? We have ES1, ES2, ES3, like that. If one app server goes down, we have still two more app servers which is available to make sure that the system is running fine, right? Correct.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. Okay, so either what it will happen is, sometimes your message server will hit it and people may show that system is not available, but if you retries it will redirect to some other app server.
Okay, but your system is still accessible, it's not a downtime. But if you have only one CS, okay,
What will happen, the first entry point from your GUI is your CS, and if this CS is down and rest all is up, there is no issue with your app server, there is no issue with your database. But if your CS is down, then these requests will not get forwarded to the next application servers. So it will die at this point, and the user will get a screen that system is not reachable.
and what user will think, they think that system is down. The very simple statement they will give is the system is down. Okay, then that becomes a critical issue. Okay, now it is also treated as system down because every connection is flowing to your CS. Okay, to avoid such situation, what they do is they will put one more CS here, which is an HA node. Okay, if this goes down, immediately failover will happen to this and all the connections get established with this particular CS. Okay, so this is a concept of HA and CA, additional CA node. But
Oh,
in one system there could be only one active CS. Okay, two CS will not be active, so these two cannot be active at the same time. Only one should be active, which is the receiving and which is processing the data. Okay,
okay.
any other doubts? Okay, I would take it as a no. Okay. Um,
So I'll just close for today. Yeah, just stop.